Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 281 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. Everclear are out on the road right now celebrating the 30th anniversary of their album Sparkle and Fade, with a stop in Boston on October 21st at Big Night Live with Local H and Sponge. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to get Art Alexakis back on the show from Everclear. He made his first appearance on episode 171 back on September 13th of 2023. He came back on the show earlier this year on episode 248. Art talked all about the LA wildfires and what it had done to his home and how his family was living in a hotel. So I thought we should check back in with Art to see not only how he was doing, but how his family and his house was doing. We talked about his family, Woodstock 99, the current tour, and he even gave me a little insight about some new Everclear music on the way. So allow me to reintroduce you to Art Alexakis from Everclear. Mr. Alexakis, it looks like you're on the tour bus.
It's Alexakis.
Alexakis.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
No, there's no Z. Alexakis.
Alexakis.
There you go.
All right.
And good morning. And yes, I am on the tour bus. Yes, we are. We got a day out.
Bostonians mispronounce a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You know, it's people have been mispronouncing my name since I can remember. And going with my own name as a musician was probably a dicey move, but it just seemed disingenuous not to. So, Alex, like here, you're an old school rocker girl. You'll get this. Alex saw the band Kiss. Alex saw Kiss.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, Bostonians add letters where they don't exist, and we take them away where they do exist.
It's true,
and we don't even notice we do it anymore.
I know. And you don't really care. You just do what you do, and I understand it. I think it's cool. You know, growing up in California, everybody speaks very precise English, right? You know, and people in California are like, well, we don't have an accent. We do have an accent. Everybody has an accent.
Yeah.
It's just, it depends on perspective and where you are. And that's the really great thing about this country is how diverse, you know, every region is. Not just Boston, but you can go to different parts of Boston and Southeast talk different than people from the town and people from, you know, the burbs, northern burbs. But there's different accents everywhere. So it's, you know, I as a person, as a guy who's been traveling as a musician for 40 years, even though, you know, the band's been around 32, 33 years, I've been touring since I was a teenager. You know, I was a guitar tech. And so I love the different accents and different food and different regional stuff. And especially Boston. A lot of Greek people in Boston.
A lot of Greek people, a lot of Italians, which is what I am. That's the dominant culture that I was raised around. And I went to Rome earlier this year and not only realized that Bostonian Italians don't speak correctly either, And that the only things that I can say are the swears. That's all I was taught growing up in Italian. So I can tell you to go fuck yourself in a couple of languages, but I can't order a sandwich or call a taxi or do anything practical.
No. Well, welcome to being, what are you, second or third generation?
My grandparents immigrated when they were pregnant with my grandfather. Yeah.
There you go. See, my grandfather came over in 1919 or 1920, somewhere around there, 1919, right after World War I ended. And the Ottoman Turks, basically were defeated, and Greece was going through civil wars and stuff, trying to figure out what was going on, because Greece had been under Ottoman rule for hundreds and hundreds of years. So he came over on a boat, went through Ellis Island, all 9 yards, met my mom, met my grandmother, his wife, on the boat, and they settled in New Hampshire, where my dad and my uncle were born. And then my grandmother, true story, they settled in New England, not far from Boston. And my grandmother ran off with a door-to-door salesman, a Fuller Brush salesman, and when my dad was 2, and his brother was a year older, and my grandfather, in his, to keeping with the history of all the men in my family, had abandoned his children by sending them to Greece to be raised by his parents. And so my dad, even though he's a U.S. citizen, grew up in Greece.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah, then he came back when he was 16 and couldn't speak English and couldn't get a job, and he joined the service and learned how to speak English in the Army, and they sent him to the Pacific. So he served in the Pacific and during World War II.
It's unbelievable. We dug a lot into the genealogy of the family during COVID, my sister and I, because there was nothing else to do. And we learned all kinds of weird little nuggets, stuff that the family never talked about. But you can't get away from the documents. That's how you find the real stuff, is you find the documents. And New England especially keeps really good records, thankfully.
Yeah, I've got a copy of my dad's birth certificate from 1922.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm gonna beg to differ with you on there. There's a lot of at the end of the day, the documents do bear things out, but there's a lot of stuff that in families that people don't want to talk about.
Oh, 100%. Family secrets, we called them.
Yeah, my dad was wounded in New Guinea, in fierce battles in New Guinea in World War II, and he got sent to Melbourne, Australia, to the hospital there, and Melbourne, Australia, has the highest concentration of Greek people, other than the U.S. in the whole world, other than Greece. Right, it's the third most amount of Greek people. So the hospital they sent him to had a bunch of Greek nurses, which he promptly got 2 of them pregnant.
Hey,
that's my dad.
You Greek guys have got a charm about you. You just do.
Well, just a bunch of goats, a bunch of randy old goats.
You came on the show earlier this year, and we talked a lot about the fire. So I was really excited to find out, are you back in the house?
Oh, yeah, we've been back in the house. Well, after about 4.5 months, we were back in the house. But it was still, the house is clean. And they had to, sand down the walls, move the floors, and even the foundation, because the fire hoses had, the water seeped down, and they had to redo the foundation of the house. Thank God we have amazing insurance adjuster. My wife was home for doing all that. So she's amazing. And, getting through all the adjusters and the inspectors from the county and state, and people trying to, rip people off and sell stuff, and it's a constant. Whenever something bad goes wrong, good people come to the table, and so do bad people.
Yep.
It's just as it is. But my wife is a badass, and she was actually born in Boston.
I know.
We talked about that. She lived in Boston until she was about 7.
Look, you can't help it. You just like Boston chicks. It's a charm we have.
It's a charm. It's definitely a charm. Yeah.
Even if she left as a kid, there's something about the city that root runs really deep.
Well, her family, her family are all from there, and it's like we get in arguments all the time about Dunkin Donuts coffee and Starbucks. And, yeah.
I'm drinking Dunks right now. Cheers.
Of course you are. I am not. I'm drinking some fancy Italian coffee on the bus. Illy coffee.
When we talked about the fire, you said more than anything what you dreaded the most was having to drag your daughter out of the hotel because she had gotten so used to living in the hotel with room service. Is she okay having to go home?
It was a transition. When we came home, that whole year was really hard because of the fire. And about 2 months before the fire, my wife had gone through cancer. I don't know if I mentioned that to you at the time. She had melanoma, and melanoma is rough, man, because you can't treat it with radiation or chemotherapy. You got to just cut it out. And so she had a series of operations that were really rough. And thank God she's clean, so everything's gone, or no remission. It's just all gone, which is a blessing. But my daughter dealing with all that, and then the fire, and the displacement, and getting used to the. I was joking about that, but kind of, yeah.
Look, when you're a teenager and you get to live in a nice hotel, come on, that's got to be kind of cool.
It was a nice hotel too, because it was the only one that would take dogs, right?
Right.
So, I looking back on it, it just seems like a blip, but I mean, that was a long time. But, I'm a guy that lives in hotels anyway, so I'm not home. I'm living in hotels. I'm looking at the key, my hotel key sitting on the counter over there. Once I'm done with the interviews this morning, I'm going to move my stuff into the room and go, have a nice hot shower and order some room service or some Uber Eats or something. But for my family, it was rough. But she's doing really, really well right now. She was finishing up school, and she got through school really well and some transitional stuff. But this summer she did some college programs because she's a senior this year. And we decided to move her from her school to this prep school. It's smaller classes and very focused, and she can build her own curriculum. And Carrie, she's just killing it. She loves it. She loves going to school. And before it was like pulling teeth.
Well, I'm a year ahead of you. We just moved my stepdaughter into her freshman year of college, and she's in the dorm out of state, and it's weird.
How's she like it? Does she like it?
She loves it. She researched the school. She decided that's where she wanted to go. She loves it. But leaving and coming home after moving her in and crossing more and more state lines and getting further and further away, it's just weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's something that's bittersweet that we're both looking forward to, because me and my wife will be able to, have more time for us. And that's exciting. But at the same time, it's just nerve-wracking, man. I hate to admit it, but I'm a helicopter dad, man. I just, that's my baby.
Yeah.
She'll always be my baby.
That's right.
And I just, but I want to find it. We're going to go look at some places. She's she's already like because of her grades, she's already gotten like invitations to like 3 or 4 schools that aren't bad, but they're not the ones she wants to be in. You know where she wants to go to school? You know what her number one school is?
In Boston, right?
Nope, close. RISD.
Wow.
She wants to go down to school design. She wants to do fashion design.
It's a beautiful school.
It's a beautiful school, and it's right next to Brown, and it's an offshoot of Brown. It's Ivy League.
Yep.
But there's a school in upstate New York. There's schools in New York City, which kind of dicey. There's a school in Milan she wants to go look at, and that's a little far right now. Maybe she'll go somewhere in the States for 2 years and then go to Italy to get her degree.
Sonny Sandoval from POD told me that when his daughter decided to go to college in Hawaii, that it was weird that there's an ocean between him and his daughter. He's like, anywhere in the U.S. you feel like as a dad you can get there by car, you can just drive and get there. Yeah. He's like, but when there's an ocean, it's weird.
I love Sonny. Sonny's awesome. He's one of my favorite people. I didn't know he said that. That's the thing. That's like Italy. Think about that. Not only do I have a whole country, then I have a whole ocean.
Yeah.
Not part of an ocean. Not part. Sonny's from San Diego, so I'm imagining they grew up his kids grew up in San Diego.
Yeah, they did, but still, an ocean's an ocean.
Ocean's an ocean, but yeah. Yeah.
I know you're busy today, so we got to talk about the tour because you're going to be in Boston on the 21st on the Sparkle and Fade tour at Big Night Live.
Right.
You were talking about how you've been touring for 40 years and the band's been together for more than 30. Is it weird going out on a tour to celebrate a 30th anniversary? I feel like that's weird to say out loud. No?
No, I think it's fun. I think it's a badge of honor. It's last guy standing. I'm in my 60s and people still want to hear these songs. I mean, what a blessing. I don't think it's weird.
Did you spend a lot of time touring with Sponge and Local H back in the day? Because this tour is a perfect package.
Well, we've known Local H for years and years. We've done radio shows with them, and we took them on the Summerland tour in 2018. But Sponge is a little bit more special. Sponge took us on our first big bus tour when Sparkle and Fade came out in May of '95, and they just treated us like brothers. They were great, and we've taken them on tour. This is the third or fourth time I think we've taken them on tour, and they're on fire right now. They're just killing it. All the bands. It's amazing that it's pretty full when the first band goes on, and that's not
normal. Yeah,
that's not normal. And that just is a testament to the strength of the bill, for sure. I love being on tour with all those guys. Every now and then Scott from my Local H will come out on stage uninvited. Just start taking my mic away and start singing a song. That's fun. And then he'll come out at the end and do Santa Monica with us. So yeah, it's fun. It's just fun. We're all older guys who've been through it, have gone up, been very successful, came back down, and now with the 90s, there's a 90s resurgence out there.
Big time.
We're doing really well. Selling out shows. A lot of young people, Carrie, kids in their teens and 20s that weren't even born when these songs fucking came out.
I feel like those kids are listening to stuff like by the time I grew up and started listening to music, Led Zeppelin had already been gone. And all of those 70s bands had already had this huge. And so that was the idea of the classic rock, the cool music that your older brothers and whatever listen to. And now all of a sudden, these kids are listening to these bands that they were
their class. We are their classic rock.
Yes, and it's amazing and strange all at the same time. I met this 12-year-old girl, and when I told her I was at Woodstock 94, she looked at me with such reverence, like, you were. Like when I talked to my English professor about him being at Woodstock in 69. Like, I'm the old person that's seen all the cool bands now.
Yeah, I get that from kids that we played in 99, at Woodstock 99, which is,
I was there too. Oh, yeah.
It was a shit show.
It was a shit show.
Like literally.
Literally a shit show.
Yeah, I know. But no, we had a great show. When they did the documentary, the one on HBO, where they're basically every band they bring up is in a negative light, and they didn't bring us up, and I was great.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a great time. But yeah, it was really well done. But yeah, I mean, the way I liken it is that, all those guys and gals in the 90s that were making music in the 90s, we all grew up in the 70s. And I say that on stage. It's like, it's Nirvana is the Led Zeppelin for that era. I don't know who would be, maybe maybe Foghat. I don't know. But it was a great time to make music. Back, I remember people asking me questions in the 90s. So, what makes Everclear alternative? I go, I don't think we're alternative. I don't think very much of the music out there is alternative. Sonic Youth, they're alternative. Cake, they're pretty alternative. But everyone else is much just a rock and roll band. But I'm stoked because guitars were on the radio again. I grew up in the 70s when big guitars were on the radio. And in the 90s, guitar bands were on the radio. How exciting is that for me?
Yeah.
And for everybody. And I'm hoping there's a lot of new bands coming up and they're doing really well. Look at Turnstile. They've been around for, a few years. And
it's unbelievable.
Just every album, now they're blowing people out of the water. There's a band called Starcrawler out of LA.
Yes, I've seen them.
They're amazing. There's a lot of really cool rock bands seeping up now, coming out of the cracks, and I hope something happens. I really do.
Well, I can't wait to see you in Boston, October 21st at Big Night Live with Local H and Sponge. I'm glad you're back in the house. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Carrie. So good to see you again.
You too.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Oh, I got a new, did I tell you I'm writing a new record? We're going to put a new record out next year?
No.
So let's talk next year.
Hell yeah.
And
I'll help you through the process of moving your daughter to college. I got you.
Thanks, man. All right, take care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
There he is, Art Alexakis from Everclear. Catch him out on the road with Sponge and Local H, celebrating the 30th anniversary of their album Sparkle and Fade. And be expecting him to return to the Mistress Carrie podcast in 2026 to talk about that new album he's working on. If you want to hear Art's other appearances on the Mistress Carrie podcast, I put the links in the show notes of this episode. You'll also find the link to this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the artists and songs that we referenced in the interview. You'll also find Art's links, Everclear's links, and all the Mistress Carrie links. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday, plus every weekday you get the sit rep. The Situation Report gives you all of your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. You can join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. And you can always hear me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.